Hey guys, this is Aegis, and this is Game 3 between Dimaga and WhiteRa. This is going to be the map Dual Site. Of course, this is the ESL Sennheiser Cup number 1, or I'm not even sure because it's really hard to tell based on ESL's website. And there it is, the good luck, and have fun from both teams. This guy always leaves the game. I guess he's an admin or something. I guess Homer J is casting this for the Germans. And on this site, on this map, Dual Site, it does have this natural expansion with a couple of different ways to get inside. There's these two entrances here, maybe even you could call this a third entrance, which does also lead down to your third base. People do enjoy sneaking these side bases over here, or maybe stealing the gold base. Oh, look, it's not the gold base. Huh. Alright, so I guess ESL's version of this map does not have a gold base that you can steal. WhiteRa is throwing his pylon down at the low ground, and this will allow him to either go Nexus first or get a Forge, and Forge fast expand. After that, he is checking out Dimaga's base over here. We're going to see that Dimaga is going to be making a couple of drones here, and we'll probably see him do a 15 hatch. Or just a pool, 15 pool. There's the pool coming up, so he's going to be slightly safer, getting up a couple of Zerglings first to be able to nibble away any sort of pylon that WhiteRa decides to throw down at the natural expansion to block that, and it looks like WhiteRa is going to respond with a Forge, and then he'll go ahead and expand on 18 or 17 food. He is saving up those minerals right now. He will be able to throw down a cannon here to help defend against any sort of early pressure. Dimaga is making his Overlord now and is scooting his drone out to the natural expansion to be able to grab that. He has almost enough money now, and it looks like he's trying to throw it down, and the probe is going to turn right around and block it off. A little bit of a probe on drone action over here. The probe will retreat, and the hatch does go down. The natural expansion for WhiteRa is also on the way. We should be seeing a cannon and a gateway. There's the gateway first, and a cannon real soon. So WhiteRa knows his opponent has gone for the hatchery, so he knows that there's no sort of massive amount of Zerglings coming out, so he's going to go ahead and get his tech up first. He's also going to be able to get a pylon inside the main in case any sort of all-in comes. He will be able to build cannons inside the main as well. A queen is coming up for Dimaga. He's continuing to make those drones right now. We'll see him take the gas sooner or later to begin teching towards Lair, or to be able to get up the Zergling speed to get some additional map control. He does have Zerglings out and about the field right now. We'll begin nibbling away at this probe that is trying to make its way across the field to do some scouting. And the Nexus is just about finished for WhiteRa, and he's grabbing these two gases here. He needs to get those up because his economy is just going to be booming in a second, and he needs to be able to balance that with a proper gas intake. So always taking a double gas after doing this kind of Forge. Fast expand is the proper way. He's also getting up his cybernetics core, and a quick third base from Dimaga. This is one of the wonderful responses that Zerg can have to a Protoss player trying to get up a really fast natural expansion. That third base will allow Dimaga to soar forward in drone count, and we're going to see him make drones for a very long period of time. He knows he has plenty of time because the warp gate research is going to be delayed by like 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how many chrono boosts WhiteRa decides to spend on it. Is like currently chrono boosts usually can get the warp gate tech out now, and it's only now starting for WhiteRa, and it's got 160 seconds to go. So Dimaga knows there's no pressure coming anytime soon, but he's gonna have to get up some defenses ready just in case there is a sort of a 6 or 8 gateway push out of WhiteRa, and we'll see if that's something that WhiteRa opts to do. It is a very strong Protoss build against Zerg players that are too greedy, getting too many drones out in the early game. Let's take a look to see how many drones Dimaga already has. He's up to 29, so the next pop-off of drones will allow him to soar ahead of WhiteRa, and this extra hatchery will give him more efficient mining capacity, as well as 2 additional gases if he so desires to do some teching. He's got another queen on the way, and WhiteRa is getting his +1 ground attack here, and I believe Dimaga should have spotted that, so he knows that WhiteRa is going to be going for some sort of timing attack off of these two bases, and there are 2 additional gateways coming up, bringing the total up to 4 right now, and we should be seeing a couple additional ones if WhiteRa decides to go for some sort of attack. A couple of Zerglings running in here, not really able to do too much. All of them get cleaned up. There are a couple of units out here for WhiteRa, and his Warp Gate tech is about to finish at the 7.5 minute mark. Dimaga here now getting 9 additional drones. He's going to be able to saturate this expansion very easily. He's got his Zergling speed on the way, as well as an Evo chamber and a Roach Warren, a couple of additional drones transferring over there. He's also starting the creep spread. Does he have a dedicated queen for this? It doesn't look like it. He's spending most of the energy on vomits right now, trying to get that extra larva up to be able to produce from it. And there's the Warp Gate tech finishing up. He's also got a 5th and 6th gateway coming up, so this does allow the potential for a very strong 6th gateway push, but WhiteRa is also getting his robotics facility right now, so this will allow him some late game tech. If he decides to push out a little bit, this will force Dimaga to make a couple of attacking units to be able to hold this off. His Overlord does see the move out here. He also sees him moving back, so he's not going to make too many units here. 4 roaches on the way for Dimaga. He's also throwing up a bunch of spine crawlers just in case he has plenty of drones and plenty of money to do so. He's got 56 drones over the 51 probes of WhiteRa. And he's also got the extra base, a macro hatch coming up at the natural expansion. This is very nice placement here. This doesn't allow your units to get trapped inside the main in case WhiteRa decides to push and force heal the ramp. Will allow the units to spawn right there at the natural expansion. WhiteRa is just pushing out a little bit, trying to get some map control. A couple of Zerglings coming in here, trying to take down those 2 Zealots. Looks like there's just way too many units for WhiteRa. He's also got the +1 ground armor on the way. He's grabbed the 2nd gas, not quite mining off of that one yet. He's also grabbing an observer right now, and the 3rd base on the way for WhiteRa. There's a few Zerglings here trying to nibble away at it, but it looks like those Zerglings will be forced to fall back. There are too many Protoss units over here. Maybe get a couple additional shots off. One Zergling does survive that encounter, but WhiteRa should be able to get up his 3rd base without too much contention. There are 38 Zerglings on the way for Dimaga right now. He's also got a pretty large army right now, so he may be looking to push real soon. Protoss has actually climbed back ahead in terms of that worker count and not mining the 2nd gas. That might be a mistake from WhiteRa. He's chrono boosting. Oh, a couple of drones getting caught off over there, and a couple of additional Zerglings trying to run by. They will be able to force the cancel on the 3rd base over here. A couple of roaches getting killed off, and WhiteRa is going to be forced to cancel that. There's the 300 mineral salvage, and there's also a War Prism out on the field, going to be lifting a couple of those Zealots. And oh my goodness, a ton of Zerglings running in here trying to get to do some damage. The roaches also coming from the high ground. All the Zerglings on the low ground getting cleaned up. It looks like the Zealots do hold the line, but the Zerglings are running towards the natural expansion right now. Looks like they will try to engage this Protoss army. More force fields going down. Dimaga throwing away a large portion of this army right now. Those force fields are just perfect, able to hold the line for the Protoss player. Looks like one additional probe getting picked off by Dimaga. But that was definitely a favorable exchange for WhiteRa, not losing too many units to that gigantic Zerg force, and WhiteRa even lifting a couple of units, maybe trying to go for an attack. A couple additional units out in the field for Dimaga. He should be wise to retreat those back home. He's making 30 plus more Zerglings, as well as another Roach. It'd be interesting to see him take this 4th base real soon to be able to catch up to his opponent, which Dimaga knows WhiteRa is trying to grab this 3rd base right now. Couple additional Zerglings getting takeout, 10 more Zerglings on the way. WhiteRa going to be throwing up additional pylons to close the space off a little bit better. He can warp in 2 Zealots there to just close this off completely and deny any sort of counterattacks. He's also got his Twilight Council out on the field. We'll be able to get some additional tech out, as well as the Colossus going to be coming out real soon. And there is a War Prism drop inside the main right now with a couple of Zealots being lifted out of here. There's the airlift. He will be able to retreat with all of those units. War Prism taking not too much damage. And WhiteRa's army cleaning up a couple of those creep tumors. Dimaga is being careful to engage near his spine crawlers. And here comes a Protoss push here. I think WhiteRa is going to be forced to run back. Dimaga is going to be surrounding from the front and the backside. Looks like a couple of sign crawlers up in the front. The force field's going to be going down, and Dimaga is going to be crunching in the backside as well. There are units up at the front, and there are no zealots in here, and it looks like WhiteRa's army is getting completely sandwiched. And the Roaches Zerglings are going to be able to clean up all of these Stalkers. WhiteRa maneuvering his army into a nice favorable position. Looks like a couple of Zealots over here cleaning up a bunch of drones. Let's take a look at the workers kill tab. 12 workers killed by WhiteRa, and these Stalkers over here getting picked off. And WhiteRa is going to be expanding to his third base right now, taking that expansion right now. We also have Dimaga here getting his Glial Reconstitution. That's a little bit late for those Roaches. Those Roaches are slow, so it's going to be hard to surround and also hard to retreat, especially if he gets out of position. Additional sentries warping in for WhiteRa. He does have a idle probe over here. He's getting out his first Colossus, second Colossus on the way. He's also got additional gateways coming up inside his main. A couple of idle probes over there. It looks like WhiteRa is going to be forced to cancel his third once again. And there's another warp in by WhiteRa, more Stalkers to help him take this new base. But without that Roach speed, it's really hard to do this counter-attacking style. And there's WhiteRa throwing down his third base. Trying to throw it down. There's a Zergling right there. Will get cleaned up. Third base coming back up for WhiteRa, and a fourth base on the way for Dimaga with 22 drones on the way. He's been making attacking units for a very long time, so he needs to catch up on that worker count, which is essentially what's keeping WhiteRa alive here, being able to warp in more and more units as well as tech far ahead of his opponent. There's also a Spire coming up for Dimaga. He's going to be able to get some harassment units out here, try to spread the Protoss player thin as he begins expanding farther and farther away from the main. He's going to need to transfer a bunch of these probes over to the third base right now as these mineral patches are dwindling. Drones are now distance mining the fourth base over here. I believe the main should be running pretty dry for Dimaga as well. A Spire is about to finish. A couple of cannons up at the third base to give the Protoss player a little bit more ability to maneuver around and get back into position. Once out of position, those cannons will be able to hold the line for a short period of time. Third Colossus popped out, and a fourth one is on the way, plus 2 ground weapons on the way for WhiteRa as well. Dimaga positioning his army down towards the south side, making sure that his newest mining base is adequately protected with his entire army. He's also got Corruptors on the way, knowing that WhiteRa has gone for those Colossus. The third base is now up and mining both gases as well for WhiteRa. Nice cute gas cancel there from Dimaga, getting him up to 204 food of 200. WhiteRa is still hanging out at 174, but this is a very powerful army. The Zealots don't quite yet have charge, but they will have it soon. It is on the way, and the fourth Colossus now popping out. This is definitely headed towards that 3-base Protoss-style death ball. A couple of additional pylons are coming up for WhiteRa. And over here, Dimaga is gearing himself ready to push. He's got his Corruptors out, as well as his Zerglings and Roaches. It's going to be up to WhiteRa to hold this off. He has so many Zealots here, so Dimaga is have to do a good job of microing against those Zealots to be able to win this battle, because Zealots are quite good against Zerglings. And here comes the push from Dimaga, where the Corruptors, and here they come. WhiteRa is positioning his units to get as much of an arc as possible, and here comes the engagement. The Zealots coming in through the front, and the Roaches getting torn to shreds by the Zealots as well as the Colossus, but the Corruptors doing the work here. Force fields going down, trapping all of the Roaches, and WhiteRa tearing those Roaches apart. Roaches do have 2-0, but the Zealots are just much too strong with that 2-1 upgrades there. Zealots do kill Roaches one-on-one, and WhiteRa is going to be going for the counterattack right now. 33 Roaches on the way. Immortals popping out for WhiteRa now, knowing that his opponent is making a ton of Roaches, especially for the defense. He's going to be forced to make basically pure Roaches in order to defend against this. A hive is on the way for Dimaga, so he's going to be able to do some additional attacking, get out those Broodlords, and it looks like a bunch more Roaches getting trapped over here, not really fighting, and getting torn to shreds by those Zealots once again. And WhiteRa doing a very strong push. There are Roaches in position, trying to get a nice concave on this Protoss army, surrounding from both sides. WhiteRa is throwing down the best force fields he can, and it looks like the Protoss army is going to be able to smash through most of these Roaches. The Roaches are not upgraded in terms of carapace. 54 Zerglings on the way. Dimaga falling back with his Corruptors as well. Hive is just about to hit. He's going to be able to get those Broodlords out on the field, and that could be critical against WhiteRa, especially because he does not have any Stargates to get those Void Rays out onto the field. And another Overlord getting sniped there by WhiteRa. He's just rallying his units into the center of the field right now, trying to get those Immortals into battle as well. And Dimaga trying to engage over here. A couple of Zerglings do get taken out. He's trying to get his units to be able to do a wraparound. A couple of Roaches and Zerglings trying to swing around from the backside. The force fields at the front are perfect, walling off all of the Roaches, preventing them from doing any damage at all. Those force fields are exactly what's keeping WhiteRa's army alive right now. Without those force fields, this army would have been crushed from both sides. The Corruptors trying to get in here, do some corruption, but the Roaches getting completely steamrolled by those Immortals and Stalkers trying to get in here right now. More Roaches spawning. 42 Zerglings trying to pop out right now. We'll see if that's enough to save Dimaga, but Dimaga's food count is rapidly declining, even as he is making so many units right now. And the Roaches just running in here one by one. The Zerglings flooding in as well, trying to take care of these Stalkers, but they're just way too highly upgraded. Those Zerglings, I believe they're not very highly upgraded. I really don't know. Unfortunately, I can't click on them before they die. It's impossible to click on those Zerglings. I think it's kind of lol. Says Dimaga, and GG out of Dimaga, and this game goes to WhiteRa, making it 2-1 in favor of WhiteRa. We're going to be headed to Game 4. I hope you enjoy my casting here. Please do check out my other videos. I have tons of stuff coming out on my channel. I hope you please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.